To another live coaching. It is the second one of the year. Hello, hello, hello. Did you sail this week? If you sailed this week, where and how was it? What were you working on? Give us the goods. Was it a good session? A bad session? Hey, Jeff. Jeff, are you in Cape Town? I think you are from the photos that I've seen. How long are you going to be there for? And how have the conditions been so far? Greg, feeling weak after your rib injury and the flu, but good to be back on the water. It looked like a big day. The session in Cornwall looked like a big day. The photos that I saw from Steve Thorpe looked pretty big. How did it feel in such big conditions? Hey, Jorg and Steen, welcome to the live stream. How are you guys all doing? I hope everyone's having a good start to the year. I want to talk a little bit more about goals. We talked about goals last time, and then I asked in the group, and so that people had a bit of time to reflect and post their goals. The thing with goals is that a goal without a plan is just a fantasy. And so I really want to make sure for your windsurfing goals that there's a plan attached to them. So they're not just fantasies. They're not just hopes. They're not just fantasies. They're not just dreams. So we're going to get into that in a second. And I have a few very specific questions I want to ask you about making a plan for goals that I think are important for people. I'm not sure what goals other people think are important for themselves. We're going to get into that thread in a second. First, we're going to do a few more hellos. Hello, Rich. You were sick last weekend. Yeah, I was super sick. I'm getting better, though. Pretty much all better now. New set of waves. Sounds nice. Jorg is good, but no sailing. Hey, Edwin. Hard day on the North Sea, but light wind. Greg is saying he sailed upwind where the waves were smaller. Looked pretty awesome. Hey, John, welcome. We haven't seen you on the live stream in a while. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, cool. Edwin, I'm stoked to hear it. I want to hear your experience. Edwin is one of our rippers, our regular rippers. Jeff says he's had some good conditions so far, but it's been odd in terms of wind and waves until April. Cool. John's been getting in the water on the sup. John, the other John. Do you guys know each other? The Johns? I think you do. Lots of wind, but no sailing. It's cold. Matt had a good session. Nice. Sounds good. Ragnar. Good to see you, Ragnar. All right, I'm going to load up the Facebook group. You guys keep telling me if you sailed or not. I'm going to get into the Facebook group, and I want to look at the goals because, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, a goal without a plan is a fantasy. So let's load these up. All right. Load this so I can see the chat, see the Facebook group all at the same time. All right, here we go. So Chris says that his goals are mainly related to fitness so that he can keep going and improving in 23. So sounds great. What are your plans for staying fit? So this is, I think, a very common goal. And like I keep saying, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's really true that if you don't have a plan, a goal is not a goal. It's a fantasy. And so how do you turn a goal how do you make a plan around a goal like wanting to be fit? So it's coming up with a routine. So it's saying, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I go for a 40-minute run. And Tuesday and Thursday, I do the yoga, Pilates, core strength routine on YouTube, right? That's a plan. Maybe that's not the perfect plan for you, but that's a plan. That's a way to reach the goal of being fit for surfing. There are a lot of other tools out there for getting fit. Sasha Lang, who posts in this group, just started a Fit for Surfing community. In fact, I think there's a promo for the Graham Ezzy coaching community members that want to join Sasha's thing. I'll post about that later in the week. There are also there's Sarah Hauser's program. There are other programs online for getting fit. But even if you're not with some kind of program or some kind of coach, you can still come up with a plan, come up with a routine so that you can reach that goal of being fit for surfing. And we have a lot of really good experts in the group. I've been working with Cedric. I had him on the live stream. He's a sports scientist, and he's been training me over the last 2 months, and it's been really helpful. But my point is that there's a lot of experts in the group. So if you post what your idea is for your routine, your idea is for your plan, you'll get a lot of really good feedback. So Chris, I would love that for a next step for you, is to post your plan in the group, and I think you'll get some really good feedback. All right, next up, we've got Olaf, who says, Happy New Year. Thanks for the coaching. And so he's working on the forward, so you can use it in competition, as well as bottom turns in onshore conditions. And this is also what he's improved on. This is great. And I want to hear more, Olaf, what your strategy is. It sounds like you've had a lot of progress in 2022. So I want to hear what works and what you're continuing to do strategy-wise into the new year. All right, Greg, goals are forwards and back loops on both tacks. And so what is your plan, Greg? What's your plan for working on the forwards and the back loops? You were in the forward loop course, and so I know you did a lot of the prep work for the forward. Are you going to stick with that? Do you have a different plan? What is your strategy for working on these moves? But these are good goals. All right, I want to hear that in the chat. Alexis wants to get on the water more and do forwards. Forwards are a big one. I'll probably do another forward course. I learned a lot the last time, so stay tuned for that. Jeff wants to get more consistent in the waves. Jeff, what's your strategy? What's your plan? Jeff is very keen, and I've seen him in Cape Town, in Tenerife. He's in the waves a lot. So you're putting in your time, which is one of the most important things. So that's a good start. But otherwise, Jeff, what's your plan for getting better and more consistent? And then the second thing I'll add, in addition to having a plan, I think it's good to have specifics in your goals. So instead of saying getting better and more consistent, saying, Jeff, I know you want to do aerials. So maybe it's landing a certain number of aerials off the back of the wave, or getting more consistent with connecting with the high five, or whatever it is, something that can be a little bit measured, because then that will help you track your progress. And often it will make it then easier to be happy, because you can see, oh yeah, I actually hit my goals. And then, okay, what are the next goals? I'm going to go and do those goals. But also it can help you, if you're not making progress, then adjust your strategy. Hello to Facebook users at Caro in Cape Town. Getting into the Cape Town flow and working on forwards. I think that is Caro. Proper turns on the new board. Yeah, you're on new boards. That's awesome. I want to see the video. Max, welcome to the live stream. Greg says that his plan is to jump more this year. Otherwise, stick with the forward loop course teaching. Yeah. So what that can mean, if your goal is to jump, to learn jumps, then you've got to jump, right? And that can be hard, because you want to ride waves, or you want to work on your tacks, or something else. But if your goal is really to jump, that means planning your sessions around it. So it means that if there are 3 different beaches that you can go to, and one is better for jumping and the other is better for wave riding, and the one you can do both, go to the one that's better for jumping. And then you're forced to work on those jumps. Or put in the time for the jumps before your wave rides. I like to do that myself because if I get into the wave riding, it's hard. Sometimes I like to do both. Often I like to do both. But sometimes if you're doing both, um, then I feel like the jumps kinda suffer because wave riding takes so much concentration, and the amount of time that you have to concentrate for a wave ride is so much longer compared to a jump. Waves, they can be 30 seconds, 20 seconds long, and a jump is just a couple seconds. And so it can take your mental processing power, and then you don't have that processing power to work on the jumps. So I recommend splitting it up if you're really trying to focus on learning something new in the jumps and you just focus on the jumps for 20, 30 minutes. And then you have a session where you're doing everything else. Uh, all right, Suna, this is great advice. So Suna says goals should be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. I love it. I love it. I love it. Copy paste. Yes, this is exactly what I mean. Specific, something that can be measured, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And I would say the what I've already said is tie it to a strategy, tie it to a plan, because then you can adjust the strategy, adjust the plan. So Jeff is saying what he wants to do is go down the wave and staying high, go faster down the wave and stay higher, then add timing to hit the lip at the right time. Yeah, that sounds good. Uh, hey, Dennis, working on the flat water forward loop. Nice. That's really good training. So Dennis has been nailing forwards, but wanting to improve his horizontal rotation. Doing them on flat water will help you improve the horizontal rotation because you don't have the room to do it more vertically. So then you have to do it horizontally. So that's great. Uh, hey, Facebook user in the UK. I'm glad you're having fun. I don't know why sometimes you guys on Facebook, your names don't show up. I'm sorry for that. But you are very welcome. Thank you for being here. Um, Rich says to relate to the little goals, he made a minor step in his forward journey. Um, cool. Yeah. Also, goals don't have to be huge goals, right? Having little goals is great, and you go step by step by step. Hey, Dom Dom. Uh, Dontavius is going to do more yoga and more time in the waves. Uh, Bay says more time planing, less time watching the lighter guys circle around me. This is so good. I think one of the steps, if you weigh above a certain amount in windsurfing, if you weigh under, let's say, 80 kilos or maybe it's 75 kilos, I don't think this matters. But if you weigh over 75, 80 kilos, I don't know where the line is exactly, but it's somewhere around there. You need to get used to rigging bigger gear, maybe get a floater board. Otherwise, there's so many sessions exactly like he just said, where all the lighter riders are just sailing around you and you're not able to catch waves, you're not planing, you're not jumping, and you're not having as much fun. So if you're a little bit heavier, oh, hey, Chris, if you're a little bit heavier, uh, it can be hard to rig that 5.5 because you think, oh, that's a big sail. I'm not going to have fun. I want to be on my 4.7. Or you think, oh, I don't want to go on the 95-liter board because that's a big board and I'm not going to have fun. Uh, I think, Matt, you had a great session. I remember there was one of those days we had in Denmark in the master class where it was kind of light. And Matt's not even a heavy guy. Matt, you must be, I mean, not that we all have to share our weights, but Matt must be under the threshold I just said. He's not a heavy guy at all, but he went on the big board. I think it was a 104-liter board and had a super fun session because he was able to get around, go all over the place. And at the end of the day, that's way more important than being on your sinker gear that can turn a little bit more radically. Yeah, that gear is fun when the conditions are right for it. For sure. I agree 100%. But if you're above, maybe it's 75 kilos because Matt's 76. Like, I feel like guys that are 60 kilos, it kind of doesn't matter what they're on. They seem to always be planing. But if you're above, it's there's some threshold there. I definitely feel it. I mean, I've lost a bit of weight, but I was around 90 kilos for a couple years. Now I'm more like 85. But for yeah, so that I had to, make sure I have big boards, big sails. and get used to riding them. And the thing is if you put in just a couple sessions, it doesn't take many sessions, 1, 2 sessions on the big gear, you get used to it and it's fun and you can sail it. The first time, yeah, it feels big, it's awkward, but I think that's a great goal. So I agree. All right, Greg says, if you concentrate on good jumping, you may not get into the best position for wave riding. Yeah, so that's just following up on what we were saying before about if you have a jumping goal to focus on your jumping and not trying to do it at the same time as the wave riding. Hey, Nicolas. Nicolas in Greece, where it's still summer. Right on. Nicholas sent me a picture of an epic wave session he had in Greece just a couple weeks ago. Are you still getting good conditions? That looked pretty awesome. Dennis is saying he's 83 and he sails 110 liter and uses a 5.8. No shame in rigging big. Right on. I agree 100% because then you're moving, you're catching waves, you're having fun. I agree. So one of the things that I see as a general theme here is more time on the water, right? Getting more sessions. And this is something that I find is a goal that almost everyone has, yet it's not very easy to make happen. It sounds really simple. Get more time in the water, get more sessions. It sounds simple, but somehow it's not. Because in order to get more time on the water, you have to make some bigger changes to your life. And so I would love to hear from you guys who have made that change, who prioritize getting in windsurfing sessions. So Ragnar, maybe I'd like to hear from you because Ragnar seems like he's getting in the water a lot and it's cold and it's difficult. But I want to hear from everyone. What do you do to get in the water more? And one of the reasons it's so hard is because I think you have to change your habits, which is one level of difficulty. And so maybe that means driving to different places, going out of your comfort zone. The second thing that makes it really difficult is you have to be more selfish. And that's difficult if you've got a wife or a partner or a husband or someone that friends that are relying on you for commitments. And the way that I do it, but I have a better excuse than everyone because this is what I do for a living. So I am very hesitant to make plans. But a few times I will make plans with my wife or with friends that I will commit to 100%. And it doesn't matter if it's windy, I'm going to be there. But other times, if they say, oh, there's some event happening over these 2 days, can you come? I won't commit to it, which I know it sounds kind of shitty, but in order to get more days on the water, you have to prioritize them because if you don't, then when that forecast comes, you'll always have another commitment. And I'd love to hear strategies that work for you guys. It can be that you make a deal with your significant other or with your friends and saying, okay, for July, which is normally a windy month, I'm not around. But then in August, let's take these 2 weeks and we're going to do this thing together. Or if it's your partner, your husband or your wife, you say, I'm going to take this time and if there's a forecast, I'm going to chase it. And then the next period of time, I'm going to support you in whatever this endeavor is that you're doing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the best way to do it, but this is a big challenge. How do you get more time on the water? All right, let's check the chat. So Max is saying that he's had a difficulty with this after taking work that has 12-hour shifts. and he thought that after taking the job that it would give him more time on the water, but that hasn't been the case. Oof. Uh, John moved. So John moved from the east coast of Denmark to the west coast of Denmark. So he went. He used to. So John, this is a great story from John. Uh, so John used to have a John. Let me tell me if the numbers are wrong, but roughly a 10-minute commute to work and an hour and a half commute to the good windsurfing. He flipped it all around, moved his family, 3 kids, wife, bought a house, moved to the West Coast, 10-minute, 5-minute commute now to the good windsurfing, hour and a half commute to his work. And that's John, right on. I mean, that's a commendable move. And I'm sure that's also difficult, for sure. It's difficult for you, it's difficult for the family. Now you have this commute to work, but hopefully you're able to get more time on the water and more quality sessions. So that's big. That's a drastic change, but in the direction that I'm talking about. Um, I think is this Caro is talking about working remotely, and she's used that. Even if this isn't Carl's a great example. Carl's been getting on the water a lot over the last few years after she's been able to work more remotely. That's not available to everyone, but to some people it is. And if you can have that option, it's good. I know other people who make it a really important part of their negotiation when they're negotiating their contract to be able to work remotely or part-time remotely. And that gets you more time on the water. Then you can go to the Canary Islands, you can go to South Africa, you can go somewhere else and just sit there to these windy places and you're less forecast dependent. Jeff is saying that he's 104 kilos and his wakeboard's 111 and 119. Rich is saying you have to change your mindset to why not take your gear in your car to work and go straight from work to the water and be home a bit later. Yeah, this is a big one. I think having the car packed makes a huge difference because packing the car, having to get the stuff in the car, pack it, it takes so much time, takes so much effort. And if you can remove even small amounts of effort, but especially big amounts of effort that get in the way of getting on the water, you'll get on the water more. Period. Done. Ragnar says that he watches the forecast and tries to plan his week if possible. And he always brings all his gear, including the big boards, 115 liter, and tries to go on the water to train tacks and backwind sailing. All right, a few great points here. One is paying attention to the forecast is really important for getting on the water more. Paying attention to the forecast and knowing which spots work with the different conditions. The better you are at forecasting, the more time you'll have on the water. Two is having all the big gear all the time, because then even if it's light, you still go, you still get on the water, you still have fun. Three is having things to work on in the light gear, like the tacks, the backwind sailing, etc. So this is a great 3 points from Ragnar. And that last point I think can be really underestimated. Having things to work on in light wind is huge. Those those exercises have exponential effects to your windsurfing. Working on sail 360s, doing duck dive sail 360s, doing heli tacks, doing lee side sailing. If you're just working on those things, you'll see huge dividends paid off when you're sailing in high winds. And it's fun. It makes those light wind sessions fun. You get more time in the water. Definitely recommend it. Max says he knows a guy who was caught in his wedding videos saying to his best man that he should be sailing because it's 4-2 weather. Yep, I know the feeling. Rich is saying to do as little planning as possible, to be as flexy as possible. John is saying he attached his trailer to his car and he's ready to go. He would never go windsurfing. He would never go windsurfing if he had to pack everything on the roof every time. So this is another alternative to packing things in or on the car. So John has a family. He's got the kids. He's got a normal family car. And the windsurfing stuff all lives in a trailer. And so he just hooks up the trailer, goes to the beach, done. It's another good strategy. All right, let's keep going through those. All right, Suna wants to get more than 50 days on the water and 3 back or front loop attempts each session. Master the fast tack on starboard tack. Right on. These are awesome goals. Olaf wants to work on the tabletop. That tabletops are fun moves. That's maybe a good course. The Vulcan course is the next course, but tabletops are good too. The trick with tabletops is that the twist comes from the body. It doesn't come from the legs. So when you do a tabletop that's not very tweaked, it's like a donkey kick. It's like you're trying to push the board up. When you do a tabletop like this that's more tweaked, it's coming from twisting the torso, which then twists the feet and the board around. But this getting the board around starts here, not with the feet. And that's the main difference between a tabletop that's not tweaked, like a donkey kick, and a tweaked tabletop, is getting that core twist. It's kind of like flicking a kitchen towel, where that force is coming from your wrist, but then it extends through the towel and flicks out. And it's similar with your feet. So your feet are kind of loose, not heavy, trying to lift the board, just loose and light, and letting your core and your hips twist them up. Does that make sense? All right. Rich wants to get 100 sessions per year. Awesome. Yeah, so great goals here. I'm gonna revisit these and I'm gonna actually reply to every single one, but these are great, and I love seeing people wanting to get more time on the water. Dennis, what is your plan for getting to 50, 60 sessions a year from 40 to 45? Um, what's your plan? I want to hear it. All right. Let's Pekka's joining us. Hey, Pekka. Where's his comment? Yeah, Pekka. Hey, Pekka. So he's saying that wing foiling also allows him to have more time on the water. Cool. That sounds good. Ragnar says he's not afraid to finalize Teams meetings in his car. Nice. Like it. John says he wants to get 1,000 sessions per year, 3 sessions a day. Right on. Yeah. Nice. And Rich says 100 sessions a year is his goal for years, and he has reached it before. Nice. I don't count my sessions. I should. I don't know why I don't. Just don't. All right. Let's get into the other posts. So Chris, I think is still with us. Here's a sequence of a back loop. It says, I don't have any video, just photos this time. It was pretty gusty. 4.5 and an 85. Switched to an overhand grip after everyone's suggestion last time and was focused on really trying to carve into the wind before takeoff, keeping my front leg straight. Looking at the photos, it was a bit forced and I'm a bit out of position on takeoff. I can also see that I really need to bring the sail across my body a lot more in the windscreen wiper motion. Yep. Keep my back leg tucked in and stay close to the sail the whole way through. Close to the landing. Yep. So this is the learning process, and you can see your progress. You're getting there. What I would like to see is a little bit more sheet out on the way up. So you don't need to be really sheeted in. In fact, you don't want to be really sheeted in on the way up. You can kind of be, I mean, you don't want to be actively sheeted out, but just a little bit sheeted out actually kind of helps you get through the wind, and then you sheet in, which then helps kill the power, kill the speed to help you to finish the rotation and to land. I'm not sure what the angles are here, but you could maybe take off a little bit more into the wind. Maybe not. It's hard to tell with the angle. I'm not sure where exactly the wind is coming from. A steeper ramp would also be helpful. It looks like the ramps are a little bit difficult to find, but even if you were taking off here, you would get better projection off the wave than taking off here because this is more on the shoulder. Okay, so Chris is saying it was very onshore. Okay, so then you probably can't go more upwind than this. If it was very onshore, then this is the most you can go upwind. But see how this is just a little bit steeper than on the shoulder? So like if you had hit it here instead of here, you get a little bit more projection up. And one of the things that's so important with the back loop is it's an up-down jump. You don't want to have travel on the x-axis. You don't want to go distance. You want to go up down. No, you don't want to travel distance. Up down. And the ramp really helps with that. And so the steeper the ramp, the more it shoots you up, and you don't have that forward momentum. You're just going up and then you're falling down. The ramp is a huge aspect of back loops. One of the just bigger themes in jumping, wave riding is that the conditions, the ramp and placement is huge and can dictate whether you can do the move or not. So it's not really possible to do a back loop just off anything. It's not possible to do an aerial off of anything or a 360 off of any section. The better you get, the more you can do those moves off a wider variety of conditions, but still the conditions are huge. So those are the two main things I would say. And then otherwise just stick with it. I think you're on a really good track for getting comfortable, and I like to see it. So right on, Chris. This is positive. Yeah, so looks good. I think the biggest thing to focus on is the ramp at first, actually, even more than the sail. Hey, Thomas. All right, so Casper is going to Cabo Verde, wanted some packing advice, which I actually didn't understand because he's trying to be under 32 kilos, and it seems like he is under 32 kilos. Some ways to save weight, if you have to save weight, don't take the sailbags. Put your harness, wetsuit, base, extension in your clothing bag or in your carry-on bag even. Those things weigh a lot. You can also take off the foot straps and put them in your carry-on bag. Basically, if you can, whatever you can detach and put in your carry-on bag will reduce weight in your board bag. But it sounds like you got it sorted. All right, next up, we've got some 360 attempts from Steve Thorpe. So these look awesome. They're kind of turning into more goose screws, but looking fun, looking radical. These waves, I'm not sure how much, hey, Thomas, I'm not sure how much power they have. And one thing with 360s is, is you really want to have power from the wave. Oops. All right, let's keep watching these. I mean, these are nice goose screws. I like to see these. Good speed. Good speed. Boom. That was radical. Nice. So here on this 360, I mean, it's hard. This wave is not, it's really just breaking on the top, so there's not that much force. I mean, you do a good job, Steve. Like your placement, all of this stuff looks good. I mean, this is cool. I like a big goose screw like this. Kind of like that even more than the 360 on this section. I think that looks cool. All right, the next one, you could have a wider grip here. And for this kind of aerial down the line 360, you want to be even less vertical for this section. So really hitting this like an aerial. And so instead of having the board on this angle, having the board on this angle. So even less bottom turn, way less bottom turn for that kind of 360. All right. This is good. The wave isn't pushing you enough, but everything else you're doing, Steve, is right. So if you do this in the right section of, I mean, this is even the right section of the wave. If the wave had more power, it would kick you back inside. And so, Steve, I don't know if you're in the chat, but this is the one you want to think about as your model 360. You're doing everything right. You're leaning into the circle. You've got the sail open. You're keeping that front hand close to your hip, hitting the wave where it's breaking. Like this is the right technique. You just need the wave to be doing something different. You need the wave to be pushing a bit more, but it's even the right part of the wave. So if the wave had just a little bit more power, a little bit more punch, you would have made it. So that's the right technique. Here you've lost a little bit of speed. This is a difficult section, and you've kind of slowed down a little bit going into it. Still looks nice though. Yeah, and then this, I don't know what you're going for here, but it's awesome. All right, moving on. We've got, we've got a few other things, I know. So we got to find them. New post, newest activity. John is saying to put the gear inside for 24 hours so it dries out before you travel, which makes it lighter. That's a good tip. All right, here we go. We got some video from Jeff. All right, where's this? Sunset? Or is this table view? Where is this? Sunset. So the main thing I would recommend, Jeff, is staying high on the wave. So you can stay sort of this high. So as you're getting speed here, you're staying nice and high on the wave. Here you drop down a bit. You want to stay like, so there you come back up the wave to get speed again, which is good. But you don't want to come down even this much when you're learning the aerials. You want to sort of stay at maybe this depth on the wave, which gives you more power and more connection to the wave. And then you also don't have to come back up as much. So your angle for the lip is better for the aerial. So don't come so far in front of the wave, and then you don't have to do this carvy bottom turn. And for aerials, especially when you're learning, you don't want to do a carvy bottom turn. It's more like you do sort of a light pressure, kind of like you're going into a jibe, and then you hit the lip and fly. So that will help you a lot, those two things. And then what you want to look for, these corner sections, let's see if we see one here. So if you're staying high on the wave, then what you're going to do is you're going to hit this section here. That little corner section. And you can just do a little baby bottom turn. Just a little baby bottom turn, just a little carve into that section. And we'll pop you up. And off the back, but that's where you start. Let's see if we've got, so Jeff also posted this video. We've got an ad for Kayak. Let's close the ad for Kayak. All right. So look how high, I don't know who this is, but look how high on the wave he is and how little he bottom turned. This is a great comparison. All right. So Jeff, let's look at your video. So this is still set up. All right, so look at one, how hard you're bottom turning, and two, how far in front of the wave you are. And then for this guy, look at where he is. He's like These are completely different positions. And this is more radical and this is cool. And 9 times out of 10, Jeff, I prefer you to do this than this. But for doing these aerials, you want to start like this. Stay high in the wave. You just do these baby little bottom turns. I mean, he's not even doing a baby bottom turn. He's just kind of sailing into the lip. It throws him. Let's watch another one. It's a nice turn. All right, this looks like it's going to set up for an aerial. You see how he's... no. All right, another aerial. There's the little baby bottom turn that I'm talking about. But he chickens out on the aerial. So here's a little baby bottom turn, staying high on the wave, into the lip, boom, off the back, which is what I want you to do at first. Just feel that pop, feel that projection, go off the back. This looks like a fun day. All right, let's see if we can get one more. All right, but I think that's enough to show what I mean. Cool, Rich. I'm glad that helps you figure that out. That's the amazing part of this community, is that we all learn from each other. Nice. All right. What else? Do we have something else? Windsurfing goals. Chris's back loop. Packing. Steve's 360s. Another travel question. We talked about this on the live stream. Did we get an update on it? Nope. All right. Well, I think then that's maybe it. Yeah, Jeff, you want to go off the back. Don't try and go in front of the wave when you're learning. Don't hurt yourself. It's about learning how to get the timing and speed and pop. Cool. You guys have any more questions? Hit me up. I got a couple minutes for questions. Questions. We can talk more about plans for goals too. I like that discussion because I think it's really useful, and I think it's something that people don't talk about with respect to windsurfing. And it's funny how we have these different domain specific, I don't know what the right way to say that is, but like you might have a really good goal strategy technique for your job, but then in windsurfing you're not even thinking that way. And so it's funny how it can not cross over to different domains. Yeah, so you guys are asking about master classes for next year. Yes, I will have some, and I will release some dates. I've been working on that planning. That will be coming. Hey, Hans. Winter is the new autumn. Nice. Yeah, Carl, I want to see some aerials. Right on. Peru in September, maybe. Maybe. I've had a few people asking me about Peru. So that's actually something I've been trying to plan. Let's see. I don't know about September, but maybe. Yep. So I'll post some clinics. I'm still not going to be doing a ton of clinics, but I will be doing some, and I will post them. Also, I'll sort out the Patreon community, all of that stuff, which I'm really looking forward to. I think it's going to be good. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Take care. Have a good week. And I'll see you next week, Sunday. I hope you get some wind. Take care. Bye.